So today is an interesting topic that I really didn't think I was going to touch on anytime soon, mostly because all this information has yet to be confirmed. But we're in a pretty interesting and unique situation right now when it comes to this current generation of consoles and gaming. So I felt it worthy of discussing and throwing my 2 cents in, as I love to do. So what I'm talking about is the fact that after all of these rumors and months and weeks of talks about this PlayStation 4K, PlayStation 4.5, PlayStation Neo, we now have all these reports coming in that Microsoft is getting ready to probably do the same thing with their Xbox. Again, reiterating that none of this is fact. There's no confirmation on the PlayStation 4 Neo. This new Xbox, which is codenamed the Scorpio, not a great name, but codenames don't have to be great. None of this stuff has actually been confirmed, but it just feels real. Everyone seems to be talking about it like it's real. I actually, when I made my one PlayStation Neo kind of video a couple of weeks ago, I discussed the fact that it actually made it to like a front page kind of video news story on IGN. And as I said in that video, like IGN or not, they're the most credible news source when it comes to gaming. If they're talking about it, it's going to be a big deal, and there's probably some kind of validity to it. So when that happened, I was like, whoa, this is a pretty big deal. Maybe there really is something to this PlayStation 4.5, and so I made that video. And now here we are, where the same information that apparently people are treating as just as credible about the Xbox Scorpio is now starting to seem real too. People are talking about it. Specs have been leaked for both machines, both the new PlayStation and the new Xbox. So that makes it feel even that much more real and tangible because we can talk about the power that might be under the hood. All speculation, but people say it's real specs. And so here we are in this weird boat where Nintendo is getting ready to cut the life short of their 8th generation machine and move on to their actual factual next generation and start a whole new phase of their console gaming brand. And now we have Sony and Microsoft potentially, likely and potentially, getting ready to launch new iterations of their current machines. So all within this same period of time, just 3 to 4 years into this very awkward and young 8th generation, we might be getting all new machines from all three companies. It's freaking mind-blowing. It is so odd to think about. And you know, as most topics that I talk about tend to be, there's a couple of different ways you can come down on this subject, and that's why I wanted to discuss it real quick is what this means, if it's good or if it's bad. And of course, the quick and easy answer is I don't know if it's good or bad. I have theories and guesses, and I have like a gut feeling. But my gut feeling is predicated on what decisions are made by these companies. So obviously I'm excited for Nintendo and the NX. I mean, you know me, I'm a Nintendo fan. I'm always talking about Nintendo. I've said I'm excited for the NX. I'm bummed about E3. I do the Juices Loose podcast every Monday, and typically Nintendo and the NX always comes up, and we spend a good amount of time talking about that when it's relevant. All the rumors that have been happening about the NX for so long, for a while, was really awkward and kind of aggravating, but it's kind of died down, which is probably good now that we can just wait and see when Nintendo's ready to show it to us. But anyway, long story short is I am excited for the NX. At least that's Nintendo moving on to a whole next generation. It sucks we're losing the Wii U. I love that machine. It has its faults, but I still think it's a great gaming machine. It's still my preference of all the gaming machines I have available. But they're moving on to the next thing, and I'm excited. Sony and Microsoft, what they are purportedly doing with their new machines, their new versions or upgrades, you can say, of their current machines, that's the tricky one. That's the really, really strange one. Ultimately, do I think this is going to be bad? A lot of people are very negative about this. Understandably, I blame no one for being negative. I blame no one for being positive. It's a very weird situation. The people who are negative, their problem is that it might be setting a really bad precedence for gaming, and it's going to make all of these early adopters, now 2 or 3 years in, all the people who already own these machines, which does include myself, I have all 3 consoles, that's going to make them feel like they wasted their money. They should have just waited. What was the point of even having the machine these last 3 years if they're just going to release this upgraded version, you know, a couple of years in? And to that I say, it's not that big of a deal. I think that if what they do is smart with these new machines, I don't think there's anything really that inherently wrong with what's going on here. The bad precedence has an argument, and I'm going to touch on that in a minute. But as far as the good sides and why I think that this might still turn out to be okay and hopefully not be a horrible thing going forward, is I don't think if they don't make these machines to the point where they really have completely segregated and alienated all of the previous audience that already owned these machines, which again does include myself, I really don't necessarily see the harm of a slight upgrade, but if they carry out their generation to the end of the PS4 and the end of the Xbox One's life cycle, and everything that is playable and possible and purchasable for the current model Xbox One and PlayStation 4 that we all have, if that all continues all the way through the life of the end of this whole line, and half of the people bought the newer versions, the Neo and the Scorpio, and half of the people had the versions before those launched, but everything is available across all platforms and nothing is really sacrificed on the original ones, I don't think anything will be lost. If we start getting into vastly different libraries, of course, where so many things are only doable on these new machines and the previous ones don't really get to take advantage of that, huge problem. I'm going to err on the side of positivity and say that I think they're going to do the right things. And I think that anyone who has a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One now, if these things turn out to be real, I think that they're going to make the right decision so we don't have to feel like we were screwed. And that Microsoft and Sony really pulled a shitty one on us, pulled the rug out from under us, and it's just like, excuse me. It's just like, oh my God, why did I waste my $400 and my $500 on these machines 2 years ago when now they're just crap? They're outdated immediately. I don't think that we're in the PC situation yet where this new technology is going to almost immediately outdate the previous models and the previous technology. I don't think that's going to happen with the current PS4 and Xbox One. And, you know, to those who say, oh, well, why did I buy this machine 2 years ago? You know, wasn't it just stupid that I bought my PlayStation 4 right away when the Neo's going to come out now 3 years later? And fucking no, of course it's not. And you want to know why? Because you've been playing games on that machine this whole time. Like, why did I buy this machine in the first place? Well, so you could play the games. That's why. You're not supposed to be buying machines just to say it's cool that I have the hot new thing. You're supposed to buy them so you play the games available. Are we gamers? Yes. Apparently, supposedly, that's what we're supposed to be. And if we're gamers, then at least we've had these platforms available to play these games. I'm a huge Bloodborne fan. You've heard me talk about it. I weep with joy over how much I love Bloodborne. I only could have played Bloodborne if I had the original base model PlayStation 4 these last almost 3 years. And you know what? I would rather have had this version of the PlayStation 4 to be able to play Bloodborne and these other couple of great games that I have on my PlayStation that I enjoy, as opposed to waiting until this new super fancy Neo model comes out. Like, it's neat that a Neo model might come out and be kind of cooler, okay, but I'd rather have been playing these games. Same with my Xbox. Halo 5. I love Halo 5 almost much as I love Bloodborne or The Legend of Zelda. I'm a huge Halo fan. I would rather have been able to play Halo 5 right when it launched like I did than wait just so I can say, oh, I got the cooler Xbox. This one is the Scorpio. I don't really care that I didn't get to play Halo 5. Like, that's not me, and I really think it would be sad if that's other gamers. I think that the spirit of what we are supposed to do and love and be passionate about as gamers is lost if we can't see the value in having had these machines these last couple of years just because the newer versions come out. Like, what about the games you've been playing? Isn't that why you have these machines? Have you not enjoyed them up until this point? If you haven't enjoyed them, that's a different story. And let's get back to the negatives here. Depending on what they do with these machines, the anger might still be justified. Again, you had these machines to play these games. That's a great thing. I will never trade that. When I look at my games for my Xbox One and PS4 that I have that I've enjoyed, Sunset Overdrive is another exclusive I love on my Xbox One. So freaking good. It's worth it to have these machines at the time that they're available to play these great games. That is most important. It is paramount. But what's happening with these new machines could set this bad precedence if Sony and Microsoft make shitty business decisions, and then we are still in that sticky scenario of, is this going to be bad long term? So if they come out, and as I discussed, these machines come out, and they're, I don't know, mildly to significantly more impressive technology-wise, if they can do things so far and above what these current machines do that it really is going to start segregating the games being made available, that's a problem. If certain features in certain games or certain DLC or the quality of the AI or this and that and the other starts to become better and better and better in these new machines, and these original ones start to become more and more incapable of having these features or running these games, that's not okay. And then the precedence is there, and it's dangerous, and we need to make sure to vote properly with our wallets. It's a common phrase, vote with your wallet. It is going to mean more now than it ever has if this turns out to be true, if Sony and Microsoft are getting ready to take us over. And again, I don't think they are. You can call me crazy. I'm going to err on the side of positivity. Like I said, I feel like they're not planning on doing that. I think they know that that's dangerous territory to walk. They probably would like to do this because they're going to see more money in the long run. But I think that for as shitty as some of these companies can be, this is one area where they're going to realize they probably can't get away with it just yet. In 15 or 20 years, maybe, but right now, I don't think that they can get away with it, and I think that they know it. So I'm going to hope that they're not going to do that. But if they do, we need to do the right thing, you guys. We need to send them this message and don't buy these newer versions of these machines. We cannot let these console manufacturers and the game developers, who I think have probably been coaxing them into making more powerful consoles, we can't let them think that they can get away with doing this. They can't completely obliterate our previous $400 purchase only 2 or 3 years after we've made it. That's not okay. They need to wait longer. It would be better to let the generation finish out as is, and 6 or 7 years in, just make a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox 2, whatever you want to do. That's the proper way to do it. If you want to have this kind of iterative design where new iterations of these consoles come out with slight upgrades the way Nintendo did with the new 3DS, I think that there is a world where that can be okay, you guys. I personally think that it could be okay, you know. And in wrapping up here, it of course does all come down to what these guys decide to do with it. These decisions have to be made by the businessmen who run these companies, businessmen and women who run these companies. And, you know, we have to just wait and see. That's all I can say. You know, yes, I'm erring on the side of positivity, but I'm still cautiously doing so. And I think that you should too. And I think that we need to be concerned that they're going to do the wrong things. And I don't want them thinking that they can do this in the future and, you know, be able to charge people for 2 to 3 consoles within the lifetime of one console just because, you know. And I mean, I didn't even get to talk about this. It's not like this hadn't happened before. The PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 and even the Wii came out with slimmer, newer designs that were a little bit more efficient and eliminated some of the problems with the previous models. And that was great. My PS3 Slim was my favorite console I had last generation, even over the Wii, even over a Nintendo system. It was great. And the Xbox 360 Slim was awesome. No red ring of death. So hopefully we're getting something more along those lines. These new slim models that actually improve the right things and they don't improve the wrong things and alienate and segregate the gaming audience. That's what I'm going to cross my fingers for and kind of see what happens. But as it stands, we don't know what's happening. I just want to leave you with the positive point that I do think, like I said, we live in a world where this could turn out to be okay. So keep that in your mind, but we have to wait and see because none of this has even been confirmed. You know, maybe this whole video turns out to be me bullshitting in your ear for 15 minutes over nothing because it doesn't turn out to be true. But it seems like it's going to. So who knows? What do you guys think about all this crazy stuff, these new consoles? We got a new Nintendo, a new Sony, and a new Microsoft maybe all coming out in the next year, couple months, or what the hell ever. E3 might shed a lot of light on this as well. So luckily that's only a couple of weeks away at this point. Tell me what you guys think. Do you see the potential good or the scenario where this might not be super damaging to the gaming industry? Or do you see this as nothing but trouble and something that we all need to steer clear of immediately? Tell me what you guys think. Thanks as always, of course, for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule 2 Review, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.